we are doing, I believe, all we can.
So is it not possible at this time in state history to hold the disabled harmless in the budget process as the state cuts expenses? And I'm not asking largely harmless, I'm asking completely harmless.
Here's the thing. It's a perfectly fair, it's a fair question, but this is how I think, I want people to understand how I'm processing this, not just the question, but these choices. People say hold the disabled harmless until they point to this, that, or the other line item that has the word disability in it, that is within Health and Human Services. But let me tell you, people with disabilities need and crave education for themselves and their children too. You are also interested in functioning local services and in transportation. These issues, the issues of the disabled community, are marbled through the whole budget, just as they are marveled through our whole community. So we have held public school funding harmless. We have held local aid harmless. We have kept cuts to the HHS budget to a minimum, but we have affected the budget in other places. So I think I appreciate the question, but I think that it's important for folks to understand that as I look at the budget, the needs of people with disabilities are not limited to those line items that just have the word disability.
All right, let me ask about a line item or an earmark in this way. Casinos. In Speaker DeLeo's casino plan, money, state income expected from casinos is earmarked for a wide range of purposes, earmarked specifically for a wide range of purposes. Will you insist that there should be an earmark specifically to funnel money to programs for the disabled out of a casino bill, should we in fact get casinos?
It's a really interesting question. I haven't thought about it before now, because most of the target, and I'm just being honest with you, most of the targeting of revenue that in the bill we filed a couple years ago, or that we have discussed in the context of the legislature now, has been targeted to respond to the impact, the direct impact of casinos on cities and towns and people. So human services that relate to addictive behavior and so forth, infrastructure stresses, and public safety and so forth. I think is where our attention has been. I hadn't thought until the question was asked, which is another reason to come to reform like this.
All right, let me ask you one more question, because we're just about at the 25-minute mark. If justice, I love this question from the audience, if justice is blind, what will you do to facilitate the selection of the first blind person as a judge in the Massachusetts State Court?
Is there a candidate in the room? I saw a hand go up right there, maybe back there, a couple more. Are you students at Berkeley? Yes? All right, so we may have a couple years before you're actually eligible to be considered, is that right? Okay. Look, we have taken a whole host of steps to affirmatively outreach to communities to try to ensure that we have as diverse a pool as possible. And let me just say right here, if there is a person with disabilities, whether it's sight impairment or something else, who is interested in applying for a judgeship, please let us know. There is an application process. It's very rigorous. Some say onerous, but it is thorough and it is arm's length until it comes to me at the end with a list of highly qualified candidates. And I would welcome that. Great.
Okay. We're just about at the close, I think. So why don't I ask you if you would to make a closing statement? But let me ask you to touch on in your closing statement the same thing that I asked Tim Kagan to touch on, and that is the tenor of the campaign right now, which as we mentioned, has gone negative in some ways. And I know in the last couple of days, you've said that if an organization if an outside organization tried to run negative ads on your behalf, you would denounce it. But would you stop it?
If it's within my power to do so, I would, and I would exert power, test power to see whether I could. I just think that I know that it is viewed as a fact of modern politics that negative campaigning and attack ads are to be expected. But I don't think we have to accept it. And I reject it, and I have. I just think that 6 months before anybody casts a vote, it's just hard for me to imagine that if this tenor continues at this level, with this acrimony, that anybody is going to care at the point of time to vote about participating at all. We will so have choice in the application. And I feel that what people need and deserve is a mature and adult conversation with you and with each other as candidates about some real choices that are facing us as a Commonwealth-wide community. And that's a pledge I make. I want you to hold me accountable, and I want you to hold all of us accountable if we do otherwise. This is a critically important election, and I would say that even if I were not a candidate. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with how sensitive and delicate and important the choices are that we as a Commonwealth-wide community are facing. I believe that candidates consistently underestimate voters. I think we always think that we're going to respond, we as voters are going to respond to something more base, more cheap, more roundabout than an intelligent engagement on those choices. And so I pledge to you, you will get that from me, and I ask you to hold us all accountable if we choose to do otherwise. I'm looking forward to this campaign. I'm looking forward to working with you. I take no one and no vote for granted, and I want you to know that. And I want to repeat something I said at the beginning in closing. I see you. I see you. I've been working with people with disabilities and on behalf of people with disabilities for a long, long time. And I know that some of your aspirations and needs are just like mine, and just like my family. And some are unique. And that in every case, you are not looking for government to solve every problem for you. But you are looking for government to help you help yourselves. And if that is what you care about, I'm your guy. I'm glad to be with you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing out there?
Candidate for Governor Grace Ross. Grace, everyone gets an opening statement, so you go right ahead.
It's great to see so many folks here, and I think you share with me concern that we make sure that more and more of the folks in the disabled community of our state get listened to, but also participate in the electoral process. And I hope that folks will continue to make sure that more and more of your friends and folks you work with get registered to vote, get involved in this process. I think we're living in, to me anyway, I think very scary times. People are very angry out there, and we know why. Because there's 325,000 fewer jobs, and there's problems with getting affordable housing. There's a foreclosure crisis that's cost us $58 billion in the last 2 years. And I think we're going to be asked to make a choice as a people of this state, whether we're going to move in the direction of policies that are about just us, or whether we're going to move to policies that are about justice. Justice is not only moral, it turns out in this day and age that it's also economically the best choice we can make. Now, I'm going to leave the detailed questions to you and let you ask me those ones. Let me make a general statement, however. I know from years and years and years of policy work and advocacy work